70 to 300mm. Hello and welcome. I'm here to do a bit of a review about this, well, not so much a review, more of a Compton's thoughts on the 70 to 300. Fuji was good enough to send me this on a loan. It's not mine, I've only got it on a loan, and I haven't got long to have it, so I'm limited to doing a bit of a quick look at it now. I've had it for nearly a week, but I've not been able to use it, and I've just put it on the camera to take a couple of shots of the tour that's up in front of me. And I just wanted to show you what the 70 to 300 is capable of doing, and anyone that's interested in changing, why I think it might be a good idea and why I think it might be a bad idea. First of all, it's got inbuilt stabilization. And I think I've heard someone say it's up to 5 stops when it's on the camera, which is pretty awesome. So for handheld stuff, it's going to be pretty solid, pretty still, pretty good, pretty sharp, and compensate for any movement you might have. It doesn't have any lens creep, which is quite nice. Some of these lenses, you know, these ones that zoom out from the front. Let's take the lens cap off. Some of the ones that zoom out from the front, which makes it quite a long lens once it's zoomed out. Some of these have lens creep. This is quite solid and it doesn't have any lens creep at all, so if you're walking around with it on your camera, it's not going to walk out. But if it does, there's actually a lock on the side. You've got a little lock on the side there where you can actually lock the lens. But yeah, no, I've shook it around and I've not got any lens creep like some of the older lenses. It feels pretty stiff. The focusing ring is pretty neutral, like a lot of Fuji lenses. You don't get a lot of feel from that, but the zoom ring is quite a tight ring, and the aperture ring's got a nice clicking motion to it as well, so that's a dead cert to when you clip it into places. I've got to keep it clean, I've got to keep and look after it, but it is weather sealed. You've got a small rubber seal on the back of the lens. This is going to give you some weather sealing. That's a difference compared to the 200mm. This is my 200mm. I can hold these both up next to each other. Actually, this is my lens. I own the 200mm. This is the 55 to 200, and this is the 70 to 300. And you can see that they're pretty much the same sort of size. Let's just put the lens cap back on the back of that one, so I don't get the lens dirty. Pretty much the same size, and I'd say, just by holding it in my hands, exactly the same weight. This is actually a very lightweight lens for a 70 to 300mm, but yeah, it's pretty much the same size. It's not going to take up a lot of room difference in your bag. I'd say it's probably an extra 15 to 20mm longer, but yeah, definitely weighs the same. But like I say, this new one, the 70 to 300 is weather sealed, whereas the 55 to 200 isn't. But I do like this lens. It's very good, it's very lightweight, it's good for taking up hills and mountains. The other difference they've changed is the way it works on the back. I've never tried it, but as far as I know, you cannot fit the adapter to this, whereas this one, you can actually fit the 1.4, the 2 times converter on. There's a big indentation in the back like there is in the 5140, and you can actually attach this. So I'm going to take a couple of photographs for you. I'm going to take one with me 200mm. I'm going to fully zoom in to show you how much reach I get off of that, and I'm going to take one with the 300mm. Then I'm going to put the converter on and show you the difference between converting it by 1.4, as I own one of these. I also have the 5140, which you know I do. This lens is absolutely supersonically sharp. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to zoom out to 140mm on this, which is its max reach, take a photograph of this, set this to a roughly 140mm, and I'm going to take one on this just so you can see the difference between these two. And this is a very heavy lens, but it does have a lens collar on it. That's one difference with this. It gives you a lens collar, so the weight of the lens and the weight of the camera is distributed evenly, so it's a bit more balanced. Whereas this, once it's sticking on the front of the lens, all the weight's going to be hanging down, especially when it's extended out like that. So first thing I've got to do is put these on the front of the camera. I'm going to start with my 200mm just because it's easy, and I want to start and show you what a 200mm reach is like. So let's get this off. Let's put this on. This is all real time. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not playing games with this. It's literally straight on the camera, and away we go. Right, I'm going to turn the image stabilizer off, and I'm also going to turn the aperture to manual aperture so that I'm in full control, and it would also help to take the lens cap off because your pictures look a lot nicer like that. Right, I'm going to get the camera pretty level, take my glass off so I can see. I'm at f8. I'm going to do all these at f8 because I'm not too worried about all the technical side of it, because if you really wanted the technical detail, I'm sure you'll find someone that's doing technical detail on all the lenses, and it's not my style. I just want to do a real layman's terms, same camera, same settings, same everything. So I'm going to use auto aperture, so your apertures might change very slightly. You'll be able to see that in the XF data when I put them up on the screen. So I'm going to focus my camera on the rock, and I'm going to actually put this on for you. Right, so I'm going to hit play. So you're now looking straight through this lens. This is at 55mm, and if I zoom right in, if I can do it right, if I zoom right in, that's at 200mm. And what you will notice on this is if I focus on this rock, which is in this bottom corner, you can't see my finger, but in the bottom corner on the left hand side, on the left hand thirds, you'll see a rock. So I'm going to lock that off, you'll see the rock's nice and focused. And if I zoom back out, it should stay in focus, and zoom back in, it stays in focus. So that's what you're getting to see, and that's the image I'm going to take. So let's just stop that and put it back into play. I'm just going to make sure my focus is still focused on that rock, on the thirds, take a photograph. Right, so the picture that's coming up on the screen at the moment, that's your 200mm image. I'm going to now flick it over to 300mm and show you the difference between that. So bear with me for a moment. Let's get this off. Like I say, this is real time. I don't want to try and show anything different to what it is. This then is going to be a 300mm test. So put it on like so, turn the image stabilizer off. The image stabilizer in this one you actually can't turn off, it's built in and it decides on the camera, which I find can be an issue on some of my other lenses. And again, let's take the lens cap off because it would work a lot nicer. Right, so I can now put the video back on for you. So let's put the video on, click go like so, and hit record. Right, we're now looking through the 70mm lens, so you can see it's slightly tighter than the 50 that we had on there before. And if I zoom in, just gonna make sure, if I zoom in like so, that rock, which I need to adjust for you, let's just put you in the right place, like so, and let's focus on that rock. Right, it's focused on that rock. I'm now going to zoom out, and you can see the image stabilizer working. So I zoom out, that's at 70mm, and I zoom in, and it gives me a lot tighter crop, and that rock still down there in that bottom corner. And you can see it's a very, very sharp looking lens. So let's take a shot of this. Again, go over to camera, put it on the thirds for you, and we're going to take a shot with that rock in the bottom. And like I said, the image stabilizer is actually on. It should be out. You can turn it off in the camera, but you've actually got to go into the camera settings to actually switch it off, which sometimes is not ideal when you just want to be able to switch the switch on the side of the lens. It's a bit of a problem, but you can overcome it. So that's at 300mm. So the other thing I want to do is just show you the difference we're putting this on. So from 300mm, if you were to put a 2x converter on, I think the equivalent on this is about 490mm on a full frame 35mm. If you put a 2x converter on, it'll take you up to 900mm. So having 900mm in your hand with having a little converter on there for wildlife and stuff like that is absolutely astonishing. I think with this converter on, we're going to be looking at a 650, something like that. So it's quite a lens. It's quite a distance to reach, but again, it does mean having to have a converter on the front, and it all adds up at the end of the day. So let's put that on like so, take that off and put this on the front, which is going to be somewhere around there. Nothing like real time, is there? Right, I'm now looking at an equivalent of what, nearly 400mm, 35 going up to 600mm. So again, I'm going to zoom in for you, put it onto video. And of course this is going to change my aperture slightly because having a filter on does. Zoom right in, and you can now see that I'm awfully much closer than what I was before. Yeah, come on past.
Thank you. Thanks. Don't want to be mid-shot.
No, you're all right. Right, you can see now that I've got the rock down in the bottom corner, and the image stabilizer, as I move the camera slightly, you can see the image stabilizer is correcting it. But that's quite a lot of difference to what it was before. So again, let's stop the video, switch it back over onto stills, and I'm going to take a still, focus on that rock again, and I'll take another still. And what I'll do is I'll put all these images up. I'll put the 200mm, I'll put the 300mm, and then I'll put this equivalent to possibly 400, I think it is. I'm sure someone can give me the maths on it. So that's a 400mm shot. And again, I'm not going to be messing around too much because I just want to show you what the equivalents are. The other thing I'm going to do now is take this off, put it down, try and cover it up because I don't really want dust and everything in these lenses if I can help it. and I am messing around in the side of the van. I'm now going to put this back on, and I'm going to take a shot at approximately 140 mil. It says 135 on, I'll tell you what, let's do it at 135. I've got 135 on here? Not quite. I'll work it out roughly. 140 mil, it's going to be very close anyway. Let's go there. So I'm going to take a picture at 140 mil, which doesn't seem a lot, but I am going to show you the difference on the sharpness of the lens. Again, I'm lining up with a tour. I'm going to put that rock, same rock on the bottom thirds. I'm going to focus on it, hit the bottom, 2-second timer, nice and still. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to take this off, put the lens cap on because I'm putting it face down and it's not mine. Put the lens cap on, and I'm going to swap it for this. Now this is, like I say, by far my sharpest lens in the box. It really is a phenomenally sharp lens, but extremely expensive. I'm going to zoom that into 140 mil. This should give you virtually exactly the same shot. I haven't even got to move the camera, so it's virtually identical. And I'll take a shot with this. Now bearing in mind it's on a nice solid tripod, nothing's going to move. So we've got a nicer range of photographs. In fact, I made a mess of that. It's on 4 point. It's because I didn't have this lens out earlier on. I'm going to set that to F8 and do the same again. Make sure they're all on F8. So again, that's a shot then with the 55 to 200, the 50 to 140, sorry. An extremely different kettle of fish to the other lens, and I can take this off and show you. Let's go like that. I'll take that off and put something on the front just to stop it from getting all the dust in there. Like so. Right, this is definitely a different kettle of fish to the other lens. Like I say, that's the two lenses now. This is a lot bigger and a lot heavier lens, but it is a 2.8 lens all the way through, and you get no lens extension. It's solid in, but it's a completely different kettle of fish to this one, and what we're here to talk about this. So yeah, my thoughts on it. I've had a play with it. The image stabilizer's fantastic on it. The image is really sharp. It's a 67mm lens thread on the front, which is pretty standard. I think that's the same as the 200mm. Let's have a quick look. Sure, that's the same as this one. No, this is a 62, so it's a 67mm. Easy to put the adapter ring on there so I can use my filters and stuff like that. Yeah, personal thoughts on it is really good. If you want a really good long lens, especially when you can attach it to the adapter, it really does give you a massive reach. If you are into wildlife, or you like going up these hills and taking, you know, right long close-up shots, it really is worth having. I'd like to see the image stabilizer actually on these lenses, like the back of this one. You can actually turn it off. There goes my lens cap. You can actually turn it off on camera, on the lens, rather than having to sort of out looking for it in camera. Comes with a lens hood standard. There's nothing fancy about it. The lens hood on this one has a little flap so you can change your polarizer, whereas this doesn't. So maybe that's something else that might be handy. You can have a little flap on the bottom there, like on some of the newer ones, so you can adjust your polarizer or whatever if you've got one on there. But the lens cap fits quite securely. It's got a nice lock on it, and it's definitely good for keeping the rever off the front of the lens. So yeah, with it being weather sealed, I think that's going to work quite well. It's definitely one that's worth getting for your lens box and taking on a good walk. You can take something like this. I've got a wide angle on there at the moment, or you can have your small 18 to 55. So you've got 18 to 55, and then you've got the 70 to 300. That's pretty much all you need to take with you, something like that on a kit. The only problem you've got with this is between 55 and 70 is quite a difference in focal length, whereas if you've got the 200mm, you have up to 55, so you've got from 18mm right up to 200. There is the only problem, it's got that slight gap in the middle, and they don't do a lens to fit that small gap. But yeah, really good. So that's it, that's all I'm going to do. Don't know how long I've been talking for, probably about 15 minutes. Hope that helps. Any questions, give us a shout and I'll try and find out for you. All the details I'll be putting up on the side of the screen so you can see exactly what it's all about. It retails, I think, at about £700, £729 I think I've looked at, which is quite expensive for a lens, but it is quite new. So if you wait for the second-hand market to come around, I'm sure you'll pick one up a little bit less. But compared to this is £1,200 I think it is, maybe a little bit more, depending on where you buy it. So there's a lot of difference in price for that. But yeah, for £700, not a bad lens, and definitely one that I'll be thinking about in the future. But at the moment, it's just not needed and not necessary. So yeah, we'll send it back to Fuji and thank them very much for lending me a look. So till next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see some other stuff I review and check out my very rough around the edges, common speaking thoughts on things, you know where to find me. If you're into landscape photography, then I do that twice a week. So till next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ciao for now, see you soon.